This is Justin Scoop for Friday, October 31st, 2025. Taking a look back at SPX. Let's jump into the 3 minute here. So we had a little bit of a wedge going on. It wasn't the greatest one, just mainly because we didn't really get into this high here. If I was really strict to keep these wicks, and we just it didn't tip down low enough, or this didn't push up into that as clean. But you had multiple touches on the low side. So kind of going back, thinking through um, the previous video or two that I was looking at where these levels are at, may have been earlier in the week. I can't remember which one exactly it was, where I drew a number of these lines on the high side, low side. I think it was for Thursday's video. But anyway, just kind of seeing where this tracked, it did play out like a wedge. So we consolidated, we're getting a little tighter, we broke out, kind of retested. The retest didn't come back into this level. Um, Continue doing some S curves. And what's really interesting is where this level actually came up to or came down to on the option, as it was actually really similar to like what you could have bought the option for over here. And that I think was the 6850 call. And I think that's the one I've got pulled up. Let me go over to that next. So, so this one, no, it wasn't this one. It may have been a different option. Okay. So what this one is kind of showing that I tried to kind of follow along. Oh, it's off a little bit here. Try to follow along. Okay. If you kept that same angle or framework idea, kind of where do you actually hit so, with this wick and this wick, well, if you continue that out, it'd be way over here. And we weren't. We were kind of above this. So I drew a different line above that. And then we kind of cut through this area, but then we didn't actually hit this. So, it may have been a little steeper. And then I did the same thing on the bottom side. So it's like we're pretty much into these wicks. But then in order to take the steeper angle, we're much sharper lower. And actually, at this point, this one and this one kind of that was a bad drawing of it. But these kind of follow the same angle. This is more parallel here and here. But it just shows how the levels in the options, this is on a log chart also uh, for the pricing. It just shows that things move a little differently as the day goes on. And so some of that is the premium getting sucked out as things are going sideways. You got theta decay. You got the other Greeks. Um, so anyway, where I was pointing at over here, this S curve, this actually came down quite a bit, played into some previous lows here, not quite this low. But there was definitely an opportunity to buy over here and basically buying off of the 100 and off of the 21. And it held really nicely there. And the other thing when I was looking back at how the day played out is we had these upper wicks here, here. Actually, let me actually draw them. So we had some upper wicks here and here and here and actually here. And then we got all the way back up to that towards the end of the day. And we had a really nice sell-off at the end of the day. So actually, let's look at that put real quick first. And so which one did I pull up? The 6850 again. So this actually came down to a low of zero point 0.1. And then just as SPX just rolled over, that went up pretty high. The only problem is that it had that last move all the way up here to about 8 in like really the last minute or last 30 seconds or 15 seconds. And so you would have wanted to just get in here comfortably, probably buy at $1. And then yeah, it would have moved against you. Or had you actually waited for it to come all the way back up to that level, you could have gotten a few of them, maybe even 10 at point one. Um, in the last 9 minutes of the day. It's really tough to wait for that setup, but it is possible. And so maybe something more comfortable is getting into two of them for zero point 0.5, and then you could have been on this candle, and you just got to look for a quick exit. So maybe double the option from 0.5 to 1, or from 0.5 to 1.5. It's really hard to get the move from like 0.5 all the way up to 5 even. That's a 10 times a 10x in the actual option move, and you're not going to buy the low and you're not going to sell at the high. But that's still a really great trade to have on. And it really played off really well off of this upper wick. And so it's like, well, why was that so significant? What's going on here at this level that it threw in an upper wick like it had earlier, really four other times. One, two, three, four other times. You can kind of count that as a half a time, maybe. But it looked like we had a multi-top here, and then we had another upper wick here. So I went back and I looked, okay, well, why is that significant? So here's the other days that I've got some of these lines. So I went back and I grabbed this angle and I moved it over here, and sure enough, this angle was going down at this basically the same angle, the same rate going down. But the place that this touched and the level that we were playing into with these upper wicks was the same level we were at the high here yesterday. And so where this green line was coming down, making lower highs, that's the last time we made that upper wick. You can kind of say that one was too. And then all of the touches of that level. So obviously we had this opening candle, but other than that, every other high today played right back into that same level that we sold off pretty sharply from on Thursday. And so I think that's just really significant. There's a lot of resistance here. And so right now futures are just about right back at that point here on Sunday evening when I'm doing this video recapping kind of Friday. And so I'm anticipating that it'll roll back over. With that said, there's other things kind of at play here. There's actually, if you kind of zoom your eyes out a little bit, there's actually more of kind of this inverted head and shoulders shape that looks like it's showing up. And so this may be a neckline and we could go higher. So we're right at that decision point. Are the futures going to roll over and move down, or are they going to move up and continue to be bullish, which we've had a lot of bullishness? I don't know. I'm hoping we'll get some direction from the overnight session Sunday night here, going into Monday's open, and we'll just have to wait and see what does that actually look like as the market opens on Monday. But that's kind of what I'm seeing. Just kind of the framework, the levels. Um, we didn't really if you so we kind of came back into this level where the green line was. We didn't have the green angle really anywhere today. That's why I drew a new line here. And then I was trying to match up the lower edge with something and it didn't really work out. I was also looking for, if we extend this purple line out a little further, is there anything that's kind of flat? Um, I mean, this doesn't really cut into anything in here, nothing really clean. Um, and so it's like, okay, well, we repeated, let me zoom back out. So we repeated kind of some of the same down angle here from Wednesday to Thursday, and then kind of the flat bottom here from Wednesday to Thursday. And then we gave a new angle that I hadn't drawn in here until it happened again today or Friday. And so it's like, okay, this is kind of morphing. It's kind of shaping into different things here. I can grab this one and just show you like it didn't really work cleanly. I mean, if I try and connect these two, it connects these two, but it doesn't really cut it. The move cut into this more than I would have liked. So that's just really not a clean picture. None of these really matched up really well. This kind of matched up, but it's only 2 point again, just 2 points. So put that back where it was. So I'm just gonna keep these on here and see. Okay, does something show up? I was looking for this to kind of line up with something. It didn't really, not in a clean way. Um, if you extend that one, maybe that's if I were to extend this, that's the only thing I'm seeing now. Extend to the right. It cuts right through where we actually opened on Friday. I wouldn't have been looking for that value, wouldn't have been looking for that price. We actually the amount that we gapped up was right into the upper wicks here. And so there was definitely some resistance already there. Um, but yeah, it didn't really nothing really matched up very cleanly with what I was looking for. But yeah, obviously we had significant selling from the open, retraced some, back up into these upper wicks, rolled back down, started this wedge, and then rallied hard. Once we put in a new low below Thursday's low, we rallied right out of that. And there were lots of opportunities to kind of catch this part of the move or just kind of wait for that S curve, get a couple bear candles to pull back right into this one right into the 100 and the 21. And then this was a great move here. A lot of bullishness. You can see we've got another inverted head and shoulders that really did form during the day here, like this, with a neckline through here. So that was a really great play. For a measured move, though, that would have been like this much. I don't think we quite made it up that high. A good portion of the way. I think we should have closed. I was actually with the strength we had here. I had been wondering, are we actually going to close up here, which would have made this actually a bearish candle. But as it sits today on the daily here, oops, close and annotate tools. As things closed on the daily here, um, we've actually got a little bit of a lower wick. Had we not had the sell off, we would have closed up here looking like a hammer, kind of like Thursday. Had we continued to rally, would have been a really strong looking hammer. There's not one on the chart I can point back to. So four bear candles in a row. I think that's significant. That means that there's a lot of profit taking up here, but we're still really high. We've not quite retested back to this level. I'm still kind of anticipating the highs here or possibly a closing of this gap. Had mentioned, I think on Thursday's video about this looking like it could be an island reversal. It's still shaped up to be that. We did not close the gap. There's still a small, pretty small opening between this low and this high. Um, and if we were to gap down below Friday's candle, then if we traded inside of this range, we definitely would make an island reversal sort of shape. So that's kind of still what I'm anticipating. But with the strength that we got, we're basically back up here on the futures. And so we could very easily gap up and just keep running Monday morning and trap any of the people who sold the last 2 days. But this does really need a bigger pullback, I think. But even looking at kind of where we're at, like it's not that much further. It doesn't seem like it's that much further to 7,000 or to the top edge of this channel. And then we'll have to kind of reevaluate. Is some weakness going to come in at that point, or profit taker is going to come back in? But yeah, all of this move where we've broken out and now we're testing, this could just still be like an S curve and pushes higher. And at some point, it should come back down. Are we there? I don't know yet. I don't know. The squeeze has not run its course. We're only 5 days into the green dots after 6, 7, 8. Was that 8 days on the red dots? So a good squeeze, and that really did play out. The last couple days, even though they've been bearish, we've not lost the momentum here either. So if you're familiar with how the squeeze works. So anyway, that's what I got. I think it's a good way to look at how things moved on Friday here compared to the other days, looking at some of these levels on the calls, the puts. But there were definitely opportunities, a lot of movement, and yeah, hope this helps. This is Justin. Thanks.